Hi, PerspectaWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Thursday, May 23rd, a very active weather day here in the Mid-Atlantic region. There are already some showers and thunderstorms impacting parts of the region. That really has nothing to do with what could come later on today. There is a severe weather threat for later today, early tonight in the Mid-Atlantic region, and this includes the risk of tornadoes. There are some similarities to the atmospheric setup that is evolving for later today and tonight to a well-known tornado outbreak in Pennsylvania back in the 1980s, May 31st, 1985 to be specific, and we'll kind of talk about some of those similarities later on in this video discussion. First of all, starting off the day, let's show the latest forecast map from the Storm Prediction Center of NOAA in terms of the possibilities of severe weather later today. They have the much of the Mid-Atlantic region, basically Pennsylvania, Maryland, into the western part of New Jersey in an enhanced region for the possibility of some severe weather later on today. And really that extends all the way up through New York State with a slight chance of severe weather and down across just south of the D.C. metro region. So again, this region right here is under the gun. There are some showers and thunderstorms already again in the eastern part of the Mid-Atlantic region, but that has nothing to do with the cold frontal system that is approaching later on today. In fact, let's take a look now at the latest radar. And here we go again, a very active weather day, not only in the Mid-Atlantic, but the Ohio Valley as well. Here is a line of showers and embedded thunderstorms impacting the eastern Mid-Atlantic region. Again, that has nothing to do with the severe weather threat of later today. Look it out here across the Ohio Valley. There's a cold frontal system and already a well-formed line from eastern part of Michigan, now headed over to the eastern Great Lakes, cutting across Ohio and into Indiana. That is the area of concern for the I-95 corridor region. Again, later on this afternoon into tonight, there is the threat of severe weather, and this includes the risk of some tornadoes. Well, let's take a look at the upper level forecast maps from last night's 60 GFS model run. We'll focus in on a couple of features. And again, there are some similarities between the evolving weather pattern for later on today and tonight and the outbreak of tornadoes in May of 1985. We'll kind of focus in on that over the next couple of minutes. But first of all, two main players here in the 500 millibar level here. First of all, strong wave of energy this morning over the western Great Lakes. And second, we have this high pressure ridge just been parked over the southeastern U.S. over the last few days. They're experiencing quite a heat wave, a persistent heat wave down across the deep south and into the Carolinas, all as a result of this upper level ridge that is just relatively stationary right over the southeastern part of the nation. This is forced up over the top of the ridge of high pressure, and then it's going to make a kind of a sharp right turn and head southeast towards the northeastern part of the nation. Some similarities to the May 31st, 1985 tornado outbreak in Pennsylvania. Let's move forward here at 6-hour increments, and here you see that wave of energy dropping to the south and east, and again, it's a very healthy piece of energy in the upper part of the atmosphere. Meanwhile, at the lower levels of the atmosphere, a warm frontal system is pushing its way through the Mid-Atlantic region. Dew points is still pretty low early today, but I expect they'll jump noticeably over the next several hours. It'll turn warmer and noticeably more humid following the passage of that warm frontal system. This is the setup for early tonight. Let's keep moving forward. That drops into the New England area overnight tonight and then finally pushes off the eastern seaboard on Friday morning, setting the stage for a nice end of the work week. It looks like following this very active day today and active weather pattern for tonight, we'll have a comfortable finish to the work week here. Winds will turn to the northwest on Friday. Humidities will noticeably drop, and it'll be a comfortably warm day with high temperatures, generally mid and upper 70s north of the Mason-Dixon line to perhaps the lower 80s in the D.C. metro region. But a nice day follows this severe weather threat of later today and tonight. Well, I've mentioned the tornado outbreak of May 31st, 1985, well known among meteorologists, especially in the Pennsylvania community. There are some similarities. I'm not expecting a repeat of that. That was an extreme event, but interestingly, there are some similarities, and that raises a red flag for, again, the potential of severe weather later today and tonight, and not only that, but the risk of tornadoes. This is the surface map for that particular outbreak, and a couple things I want to point out. First of all, low pressure over just north of the Great Lakes region, warm frontal system cutting through the I-95 corridor region, the Mid-Atlantic region, and then a cold front on its heels across the Ohio Valley. This is the surface map for that May 31st tornado outbreak in Pennsylvania. Let's take a look at the surface map expected later on today. And here it is. This is as depicted by NOAA, forecast map, the way it should look early tonight. Notice the similarities to the May 31st, 1985 case. Low pressure north of the Great Lakes, a warm frontal system slicing through the I-95 corridor region, and then a cold front on its heels across the Ohio Valley. Again, a similar setup. A key will be the influx of this very warm and humid air that I expect to push from the south to the north across the D.C., Philadelphia, New York City corridor over the next several hours, and low pressure station well to the north. Now let's take a look at May 31st, 1985 at the upper part of the atmosphere, 500 millibar, the wave of energy. Look at this. Here it is over the Great Lakes region. Again, similar to what is happening this afternoon and tonight. That wave of energy basically forced to go up and around that strong high pressure ridge that is centered over the southeastern U.S. This is a stronger wave. That's the one silver lining in this comparison here. Again, this was an extreme event. Not saying this is going to happen, and this wave is a little bit stronger than what we're dealing with later on today and tonight. Nonetheless, the similarities here raise a red flag that there can be some tornadoes later on today and tonight, especially across Pennsylvania. This did the same thing the wave of energy later today and tonight will do. It took a sharp right turn and headed southeast towards the northeastern part of the nation. And finally, here's the forecast map for later on today for this event. And again, similar placement of that upper level wave of energy up north of the Great Lakes region, dropping south and east into the northeastern part of the nation. So a severe weather threat for much of the Mid-Atlantic region for later today and tonight. That includes the risk of tornadoes. Primary focus area seems to be Pennsylvania, maybe northern Maryland, but certainly have to watch out all the way down to the D.C. metro region, all the way up to New York City, and points to the west of the I-95 corridor region. We'll monitor this closely over the next several hours. That's it for now. For PerspectaWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.